Rapping mimosa, these bars in the holster. Pouring up a drink, put my name on the poster. Women who can rap make you come a little closer. Step out the whip, drop a tip to my chauffeur. New guest on my list, champagne's by my hips. It's time to get lit. Y'all know what it is. It's time to rap, and mimosas.
Yay! And we are officially back. Okay, you all, for another great episode of Rap and Mimosas. I have sitting here with me today the lovely, the beautiful Alyssa Crawford.
Woo! Thank you, girl. Thank you for having me. Hi, everybody. I love this intro too, by the way.
Thank you, girl. You know, I
Yes,
did.
ma'am.
My homeboy helped me write a few of the lyrics, I'm not gonna lie, but I had my little cadence going and I had the end.
Oh, yes, I love it.
Thank you. So for the people who don't know who you are, can you tell the people just a little bit about who you are? And then we're gonna go into how we know each other.
Okay, cool. Well, hey, everybody. I hope y'all are all doing well and recovering from a lovely 3-day weekend and holiday. I'm Alyssa Crawford. I am the outreach supervisor for the Minority Alliance for Advocating Community Awareness and Action, otherwise known as MACA Inc. I also serve as the Community HIV Advisory Representative for Area 2B, which is 8 counties here in the Big Bend, upper to mid Panhandle region here in Florida.
Okay, you said a mouthful there. Okay, so we know from that you are very active and in the community when it comes to dealing with HIV, when it comes to AIDS, and that's what the organization deals with primarily, or is that the only thing they deal with?
No, so for my actual job, which is with MACA, the Minority Alliance for, et cetera, et cetera. So MACA Inc., we are a 501c3 nonprofit STD clinic that services the Area 2B, which again is the greater mid Panhandle region here in Florida.
Okay, cool. And then you also said that you are a representative. I want to make sure I heard you right, because it was like a 2-in-1. And you are also
yes.
a representative. So what was that one?
So that is the Community HIV/AIDS Advisory Group. So I'm the representative for CHAG. It's acronym as CHAG. So yes, I'm one of 2 representatives here. Again, in the 2B area, which is 8 counties here in the Panhandle, mid Panhandle region.
What does that look like? Like, what exactly do you all do exactly? Like, as a representative, as within MACA, I know that's somewhat separate. What all do you do?
So as the outreach supervisor, it is my job to basically like coordinate various activities. Like I'm basically like the community liaison far as organizations or other organizations to partner with us and create, various awareness groups or seminars and different events centered on that. For CHAG, I'm the representative. So basically, I am one of 2 voices for those who are living with HIV within the area of 2B, which is 8 counties between Leon and 7 other counties here in Florida.
Okay. So you're doing some good work in the community, girl.
I'm trying. Thank you.
Wow.
I see you doing your thing too.
Hey, listen, I be trying.
That's right, girl. I know that's right. I'm here for it.
Thank you. I'm here for yours as well. I follow you on Facebook. So for the background on us is we knew each other. We went to the same high school in South Florida. And going to that same high school, we were actually in the same class as far as like we graduated both the same year. I ain't gonna age us. Okay, but we graduated the same year in high school. And we had a few classes together. And the thing I always knew Alyssa for was like her smile. Like she was just always spunky, bubbly, happy-go-lucky, and so on and so forth. So we became cool through class, like tell it how it is, but funny at the same time. And then, of course, Facebook kept us connected. And one day I was on Facebook and I saw you wrote this I felt like it was an announcement because I didn't know, right, that you had HIV. And I was like, oh my goodness. And that not only that you had it, but that you were born with it. And I was like, oh, this is news to me. And I was like, born with it, this happy-go-lucky, because we have like an image right, in our head that, you know, that people who have it can't be happy or smile or laugh.
Mhm.
I won't say we, I'll speak for myself. I had that image, especially at that time, that people just like life stops. So in my
Yeah.
mind, it was a few things, of course, of just like, wow, what is that like to have been raised, like, you know, raised and live within this? She was always so happy. And then, girl, you just been living your life, honestly. Like, as I followed you over the years, you done lived your life. I saw you was engaged at one point. I saw all these different things.
Mhm.
So I wanted to have this conversation with you because I know that you're an advocate on putting a face towards it and showing like that it's possible to be happy and have
Yeah.
what people will consider to be a normal, whatever normal is for everybody, a normal life. And
Mhm.
also just because I want to make sure that it is an active conversation that in our community that we're still having,
Yeah.
possibly really inform some people, because I think sometimes, you know, outside of Magic Johnson, is not that many people that we could put as a face towards HIV. So you kind of, and everyone thinks Magic Johnson lived a long time because he got money, right?
Yeah.
$1 million. So it's not many everyday people. So I guess I wanted to give you the space or the floor to kind of tell a little bit about your background with me not talking.
No, listen, I can listen to you all day actually.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. So thank you. Thank you for that beautiful spiel. Like that was very beautiful. Thank you for that. And y'all know LaShondra, y'all see how she is, on social media. If you know her in real life, she is whatever she presents. And it's beautiful, tall, long, and bold. And it's always been that since I've known her. Absolutely. But so I was born and raised in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, of course. I graduated Dillard High School along with LaShondra, as she just said. And my childhood, honestly, like where I get like this spunk and this, this social butterflyismness that I have going on is really just because of my parents. Like I really was surrounded with a great deal of hope. I had a great support system with my overall family, to be honest. So, I really I can't, I could never be who I am without them. And of course, God and God for placing them with me. It's a cycle. It's a cipher over here. And it's just beautiful. And so I always was like a social butterfly and I enjoyed participating in any activity as long as it did not involve reptiles. Okay. Yeah. I can't do no snakes, no lizards, nothing like that. But anything else, I was always a daredevil, willing to, step out on faith. And, if it happens, it happens. I'm finna go happy, just crazy. But I moved to Tallahassee after I graduated Dillard at 18. And I came up here to attend Florida Agricultural Mechanical University, better known as FAMU, of course. And in my sophomore year is when I decided to become an HIV AIDS activist and public speaker.
Okay. All right. And like growing up, I guess when did they tell you? When did you realize that this is something? I guess what was it like growing up with HIV in your system already? And did that affect how you felt like you could interact with others? Did you tell people?
Okay, so basically I didn't learn that I had my virus until I was, oh no, wait a minute. Oh no, it's charging. Just kidding. Okay, so I didn't learn that I had HIV until I was like 10 years old when my mom sat me down to tell me about it. But when she told me, it wasn't a shock because I'm 10. I was a kid. I didn't know anything about it. Like I knew a little tiny bit through the grapevine, but it's just I knew it wasn't something for me to go to school and tell anybody about. But far as like a drastic shift in my life, I did not equate that to the same shock someone would get if they were just told they were adopted. I didn't have that shock factor. I literally just, okay, everything's okay. Went and, to the next room and watched television, cartoons or whatnot. And the thing is, I was 10 years old. I learned about HIV, like really learned about it from an unhealthy standpoint, in the sense that I was exposed to the stigma revolving HIV. Once I learned about it, it didn't shock me because I was still normal or whatever, however, it was very normal to me. as a child, I was sick a lot of times, actually. Like a lot of us who was born with it, a lot of us spent a lot of time in the hospital when we were younger, but that was normal to me. Medication, that was normal to me. When I went to camp, I went to a camp for kids born with it when I was a little girl.
Okay.
And I went from 7 to 13. And at that camp, again, all the kids are born with it. So in addition to me living my life, experiencing my personal sense of normalcy, I'm also being exposed to other kids that's also normal to me, which they were. And they're also taking medicine. So all of this was just very normal to me. It was nothing that was out of the ordinary. Like my cousin who was raised, we were raised very closely. So she's like a sister to me. She was the poster child for sickle cell. So like being sick, being ill, like that was like just normal for me. Like I did not think of anything. I didn't think of I just didn't think about it. But when I got into middle school and I heard the kids, saying bad things about it, not even, connecting it to me or whatever the case may be, just hearing the hate, the disgust, the anguish, the malice towards it, being exposed to the stigma part as a very fragile, person. I'm a young person growing up and developing, and that adolescent point is very crucial. And so because of my exposure to HIV in the form of stigma, that is kind of what made me go into like a little hole and shut down, not my socialism at all, but I went into what I consider isolation, in that I tried to run away from HIV. So I tried to, in some sense, go into a shell within my own self. So I guess run away from me, yeah. I didn't accept my status. I didn't accept anything that came with it. I stopped going to camp early. I became very rebellious. I became very angry, very just very, very lost in a sense. I didn't really know how to articulate any questions regarding it, because all I knew was how it was given to me, which was in the form of hate. And I just felt like if I tried to further myself or distance myself as much as possible, then maybe it can go away. Those lies that we tell each other sometimes, out of guilt that I guess shouldn't even be there sometime, or just or fear. So yeah, that's something that I experienced. And I was, again, a social butterfly, but when it came to HIV, at some point I stopped taking my medication. I was very rude with my doctor and healthcare team. I stopped talking to my friends at camp because I did not want to be associated with that, or I did not want to be found out whatsoever. At camp, when I was, the camp that I attended is an umbrella. And so the week that we went, let me back up. It's an umbrella. So it's a medical based camp. Okay. So it's called Camp for All. And each week they service a particular demographic of kids, each suffering with different ailments. So one week it'd be sickle cell, another week it'd be cancer, one week it'd be HIV, kids being born with this illness. And it was a beautiful camp. It really was. There I learned how to swim and horseback ride. I was introduced to networking, fellowshipping with other people in the same situation who have became lifelong friends and acquaintances to me to this day. This camp had everything from zip lining to archery, and a long list of exciting first time activities. And it was just very beautiful. And in addition to, the camp also had a photographer that followed us around and took pictures. And at the end of the camp, we all had yearbooks, so to speak. So there were camp books. Yeah. And the last day before, we all got on the bus, head out to the airport, we would go around to each other's tables and sign each other's books, leave sweet notes, leave our numbers and things like that. And those were very beautiful memorabilia for us, because the next year when we did come to camp, if we, came back, unfortunately, a lot of us, some of us wasn't able to come back the following year. Some of my friends passed away at a very early age, due to everything. And so, it was just different. But what I say all that to say that when I was in middle school, it got out that I was in the book. I was the girl that was in the book with the kids with AIDS.
Really?
So this beautiful thing that, is just so heartfelt, it became such an ugly thing, for me. And I just felt like slime. I felt like I tried to scrub out, just cleanse myself through hiding. That's how I felt. Yeah. And so again, I stopped talking to like my friends. I just did not want to be affiliated with these rumors because I was already trying to, hide. And then the cat kind of got out the bag. And then, it was a roller coaster, which is also a reason why I decided to go public when I was 19, when I came up here to FAMU. I felt like I ran so far away and I did so much to, duck and dodge here and there. Somebody walked up to me and said something crazy or whatever, I could like, easily like, get out the situation. But it was still, it harbored over me, it was like a spirit, fear and just fear. Fear is a spirit in itself.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, girl, like I came up here at 18 and I felt like I finally had a sense of breath. Like I felt like I could breathe for real. Like I felt like I can start over. No one knows me. Like no one's gonna hunt me. Forget the taunting. Like just the fact that it was, held over my head for I held it over my head actually.
Yeah.
It wasn't even the kids. I mean, they were included, they had some involvement, but it was really me, and then my thing was I didn't want another kid to go through what I experienced. Because if another kid goes through what I experienced, who knows how they will make it out that hole. Everyone doesn't make it out. Like I literally had one of my friends take himself off of medication because he couldn't take it anymore.
Oh man.
Yeah. So, it was just, and I say all this to say it's not like a sad story. It's really like a place of empowerment, to be honest. Like that's really like when I stepped out is everything just happened all at once. So I stopped going to camp early, my kids' camp that I really enjoyed because that's when I got into, my adolescent angry phase and everything like that. And then when I finally came off to school, and I was able to like do some woosah and everything like that, for lack of better words. I just got back to reality and said I want to probably get back in this community, but play a vital role this time. Not just being a part of it because I had no choice but to hop in the circle. Like, no, I actually want to play a vital role this time. So I contacted my social worker and she said, okay, I asked her if I could be a counselor to the camp that I went to when I was a kid. She said I can do that, but I would have to go to a leadership camp first. So I went thinking I'm gonna, professionalism, I got that. I got that, but it wasn't that. It was basically like an extension of Camp Hope. And that's the name of the kids' camp we went to, Camp Hope. So it was like, the teenage version of Camp Hope, which was excellent. And it was so therapeutic, LaShondra. Like, I cannot lie. Like, it was everything that I needed. And I didn't even know I needed it. Like day one, I just was like, after everything, all the festivities, I think we're like in a cabin because we stayed on the University of Houston. So we went to some ranch or whatever, like for dinner that night. And like all these volunteers just laughing and playing and hugging and dancing with us and everything. And it dawned on me, like, these people know exactly why they're here. I'm queen of volunteering. Okay. I know what I sign up for and I know they do as well. So for them to know all of this and still love us or show love, ample love, unconditional love to us, hugging us and everything, like, like who am I not to accept myself if all these people, these beautiful strangers accept me, so it was just like a personal reality check. And then again, everything just happened at once. I accepted myself and then I said, you know what? I gotta go public with this. I have to make sure that no one else is in this situation that I once was in. I have to make sure or try to prevent someone else from drowning. Because I mean, you never know, girl.
No, seriously. First of all, thank you for sharing like all of that backstory that, I had no idea. Like I didn't know there was a camp you know, for children born with it. And that is a beautiful thing to hear. I think that's experience there sounds beautiful. I think it's so important to have a space where, you know, especially for children, where they can feel, you know, accepted, loved, and cared for. Especially in a case where, you know, the rest of the world is going to be, it's going to feel like the rest of the world might view you differently because of something that you have no control over at that point. You know, you had no choice in the matter, especially. So thank you for sharing that. There were a lot of gems in what you said that I think could be applicable to everybody, like especially the acceptance piece, like the running away from yourself piece, and how eventually, no matter what, you can only run but so long from who you are, the good, the bad, the in between, because at the end of the day, like it becomes a point where you gotta be like, man, fuck everybody, like fuck everybody else. Honestly, like this is me, this is who I am, and the people who gonna rock with it, gonna rock with it.
Absolutely.
Not gonna rock with it, they not gonna rock with it. But that's also such a hard place to get to, right? Like,
I think it's definitely a make or break you situation. You know, I think it's one of those various life make or break situations, really coming face to face with your own personal truth, you know, good, bad, ugly, or indifferent. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's, I know, I struggle with stuff. Like I could think back to a past decision I made and I'll start to beat myself. Why did why did I do that? Why did I do that? Or why did I allow myself to be in that position? Why did I hang out with that person? Why did I? And it's like, it's the past. Sometimes I just have to remind myself, girl, it happened already. Here's what you learned from it. Here's what you know you won't do going forward. And, you know, pray for the best. But also just the idea of acceptance with yourself. And to still be able to do it, I got to give you kudos, because it's a lot of like people 2, 3, 4 times the age that you were that can struggle with acceptance, but there you were at 19, right? Not only accepting yourself, but also you put it out there publicly and deciding to now become an advocate.
I had to, like, everything just happened at once. Like when I set myself, I don't know, it was like an epiphany hit me. You know, I felt like, no, I knew that I needed to be on the forefront of this, you know, as far as advocacy go. I knew I needed to be an advocate. My voice was needed. That's how I felt. You know, I didn't fit the stereotypical idea of what someone HIV positive, you know, look like or is like, or anything like that, you know. And I had to be a tool. Like it was just no question about it. Like I had to.
Oh wow, I love that. Thank you. So here you are at 19, you're sharing this information, and I remember the status. I remember seeing an outpour of just like love on that status and things of that nature, and I was just like, wow, you know, like I was like, I admire her so much for doing this.
Thank you.
No, seriously, because it's one of those things where it's just like, I don't know if I could have done that, especially at 19, right?
Yeah, and you know, people, I get that as well. And I understand, honestly, like a year before I even turned 19, when I was 17, 14, whatever, I felt the same way. But I mean, you know, when the spirit touches you, you just have to go. It's no argument, it's no tug of war. It's just an automatic. You know, you just go. And the thing is also, I spent a long time in isolation, and my darkness was very, very dark. You know, it took a lot of steps to, you know, get out that tunnel, you know, and I had to crawl first. And then when I, you know, was near the end, I got a little assistance to get out, you know. So I spent so much time in that isolated space, because again, you know, based on our interaction when we were in high school, you would have never guessed that. You know, that's something that I pushed so deep, you know, deep down and, you know, aside and everything. So I did so much running and hiding from me. And it's like, for what, nigga? Like, for what? Yeah.
Honestly, I have something on my mirror. Sometimes it's like when I look at myself in the mirror and like I have like all these different little quotes. Sometimes, you having like a
Oh,
rough
yes.
mentally, it's
Positive affirmations,
like
definitely.
different quotes. And one thing I'll put like fight for your joy. Like, because
Oh, yes. I
I tell
love
people
that.
all the time, like as you get older and life
Mm-hmm.
starts to gets to lifing, right? It is
Mm-hmm.
hard sometimes to fight for your joy. Like you don't like I think
Mm-hmm.
as a kid, I used to just think that joy was just something that you just always was gonna feel, and that even if there was, and especially if there was nothing technically wrong, right, then I
Mm-hmm.
could feel joy. But then it was just like it's days where it's like, no, I have to choose joy. I have to
Yes,
be
yes, yes.
intentional with how I set myself up for joy and happiness
Absolutely.
and my
Yes,
thoughts,
girl.
my relationships with other people. So
Absolutely.
after you did this, did your relationships with other people who may have not originally known change at all?
Um, no, like far as like my friends and everything goes, the love just got stronger, the bonds just got tighter. People who were in support of me prior to the HIV, like just literally just in support of me, like, like it was just an additive factor. Like, okay, they just really embraced me. However, prior to I prepared myself to be ostracized, because of my experience before being public. The reason why I even went into that isolational period of my life, I just knew, just going based on the negativity, I prepared myself based on the negativity that I indirectly received as a kid. So I just knew I was going to be ostracized. And, like, what's the guy's name? Ryan White. I knew I was going to be, the black girl Ryan White. Okay. And I prepared myself for that. At the time, still having a little fire in me was everything that people would say behind my back. Me being public is giving you an opportunity to say it to my face. Now, that's what I wanted. Oh,
Mm.
yeah, that's what I wanted. But yeah.
Not the fire.
Yeah, girl, like that's what I wanted. Yeah, I was willing to take it there just because I looked at it as defending the little girl in me, because I wish I could have hugged that little girl. That's one like that's the main reason why I'm public, because I can't have a kid suffer like that on my watch.
Mhm.
Like, so I've made myself available, so the suffering doesn't have to be in silence. Letting people know that there's a support system out here for you, and that, trust me, I get it.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
How has dating been? Like, because I know I saw you got a girl, you was engaged at one point. At one
Yes.
point, every time I saw a post from you, I was like, she live out there living her best life.
Oh yes, and I wholeheartedly believe in that. I believe in living it up like to the fullest. If I can, I definitely will.
Mhm.
So yeah, my dating life, it was, it's dating while HIV positive at the end of the day. You get some, you lose some, and the biggest thing is disclosure,
Mhm.
because it opens you up to a very vulnerable realm of you. I'm basically telling you my deepest, darkest secret, and you can like just leave, or not answer the phone or anything like that from here on out. And it's a little traumatizing.
Mhm.
It's traumatizing. It's very hurtful. It's hard, definitely. So it's not the easiest. Let me just use that term. It's not the easiest, but has it look, my past boyfriends who I've, had, they love me for me. And that's really all that mattered. My sex was just fine. I was able to conceive a child normally, like I don't know how far we want to get into it, but yeah, like,
However far you
like sex
feel.
is like a lot of times when I went public, a lot of times, like a common question or inquiry is really, how do I have sex? And of course I use protection, but there's been times where I didn't have protection, where I didn't use condoms, and I've never infected any of my partners or anything like that. And another reason, outside of being, the face of HIV, just to give people a different spin on, what it may look like in a person, or how it's contracted, just trying to really put a spin or shed light on this part of reality, and wake people up who really have these outdated, you know, um, these just outdated, visuals and ideas, and just this one lane, far as what they believe HIV in somebody, looks like outside of Magic Johnson, because he's clearly cured.
Yeah,
That's what everybody say. He done found the cure. He done paid $1 million for $1 billion, and he has the cure. Which that man does not have no cure. He's undetectable. And so that just goes back to the point I was making. In addition to being like the face of it, I also want to use my personal self as a teaching tool for it. And so basically the teaching tool comes in to also, I guess, I'm getting tongue twisted, but basically like the unprotected sex part, because that's like a red flag to people who are, not living with HIV, and I understand the misunderstanding or the lack of knowledge and things like that. And that's why I'm here, So basically with HIV, we typically go to the doctor every 3 months, or with post-COVID, we'll do like a doctor's visit every 6 months, and then do a telehealth, the the months in between. So so we'll do a doctor's visit, telehealth visit, then doctor's visit at the 6-month period. So, we're not going back and forth to a doctor every 3 months, how we used to do when I was a child. And basically, like when we go for our lab work, they're testing for 2 major things outside of the enzymes and the liver enzymes, the kidneys and things like that, and seeing how the medication is metabolizing in our system. They're also looking at our CD4 count, which is our T helper cells. And these are the immune fighting or the immune defense cells. These are cells that they help ward off, various illnesses and pathogens that enter our bodies. So if you have a cold, that's when they, kick in to make sure that you get over that cold within that same day or maybe 2 days. A small amount of T cells, you may be fighting that simple, that common cold for maybe 2 weeks. Outside of CD4 count, which is our T helper cells, we're also checking for the viral load, which means how much virus is in our system. A medical goal for all infectious disease or HIV carrying folk is that we want to remain undetected. And undetected means that your viral load is less than 20 copies. So per blood, you have less than 20 copies of the virus in your system, and when you are undetected, the CDC has coined this term called undetectable. Undetectable is untransmittable. So U equals you. You may have heard me say that like a few times on Facebook or whatever, or even my shirts that I made. So U equals you, and undetectable is untransmittable. Once you're undetected, you are no longer contagious, as far as passing along the virus in the common ways, such as regular sex and breast milk and things like that. Now, if you're having sex, like in blood involved, we just have to use common sense here. We don't want to risk people like on a normal stance of sex and the normal bodily fluids where HIV was initially carried or can be carried. If you are undetectable, you are untransmittable, which means you are no longer infectious or harmful to your partner or your infant or whatever the case may be.
Okay. And I've heard that before. I've done research on that before, and I've seen your statuses dealing with that before. But thank you for sharing that with the people who are out there. If there's someone maybe who has recently realized that they now have HIV, or if there's a child out there, a teenager out there watching this and they have it, what advice, if any, would you give them as far as like continuing to live their best life?
Oh, you better do it, baby, because who's gonna do it for you?
Hello.
Yeah, that's how I feel. At any point, you can always. I'm one of the many liaisons we have here. Like when I first came out, like we didn't really have a lot of kids born with it, that was actively saying, hey, I'm here if you need me. Here's my hand, here's my shoulder, here's my number, call on me. Any point, like, because again, I went so long running and hiding. And again, like, I kind of like excommunicated my friends and things like that. That's also a reason why I just go so hard, with my advocacy. Or that's why, like, when I initially like hit the ground, I hit it running, because, I want to offset that. I want to be the exact opposite of that. And so, we have various advocates out there. I'm definitely one. My Facebook is, of course, Alyssa Crawford. My Instagram is pretty positive, the number 5. Absolutely, because I'm 5 stars. You know what that means. Trina says it best. Okay, but I want people who have anything to live their life as if they are the cream of the crop, because they are. No one can tell me anything about myself, but you have to get to the point where you love yourself. And so I am working on a empowerment company. I already have it going, but I'm still, doing the reconstructive period where I'm getting my website and everything taken care of. But it's an empowerment brand, of course, called Pretty Positive, where I want to uplift those who are in not necessarily a rut, but in a situation that others may call a limit, because at one point I thought that, HIV would limit me, but it didn't. It didn't. Actually, once I learned my bull, and grabbed it by the horn, I rode that cowboy out. I felt like, you seen Avatar, right?
Yeah.
And let me not get too metaphorical, this is the last one. But yeah, like when he got his braid, and he put it with the little dinosaur, and they connected. You know what I'm talking about? Like the tail, and they like did that connection. And that became his dinosaur once he connected with it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. And I think that that's what we have to, become comfortable with, just learning our full selves, learning even the parts that we don't like, learn it, relearn it again, unlearn that, and then learn it again, and then just get into it for real. And like, make yourself a force. It's all within.
Absolutely. And for the people who don't have HIV,
don't get it.
Okay, that's the advice. Don't get it. But what, like, if there's a stigma or anything out there, like a misconception that you want to like pop on ahead right now, what would you say it would be?
Oh boy, listen. Oh man. People really do believe that people who are infected with HIV cannot live normal, fulfilling lives. And I wish I can like tell you or make you believe how much of a lie that is, but you gotta follow me and maybe you'll find out on yourself. But definitely life is really what you make it. HIV is not the worst thing, and again, I'm speaking from someone who's HIV perspective. I would love to be HIV negative. I think that'd be cool as hell, but it is what it is. What I do know is that I have legs, I have both lungs, I'm able to walk 5 steps without having to get on an oxygen machine. I'm able to book a flight out the country, and I like to have a mental break, and these blessings, and I can't even call them small blessings. These overall blessings are just so fulfilling to me. And I'm just incredibly thankful for it. People who have HIV can have sex the normal way. We can give birth to children. Like, we're in an era where HIV positive babies born positive are now birthing HIV negative babies. I have a baby and I even breastfed her. That, like, technology, the medical advancements, they're on the move right now. And
oh no, my computer glitched.
Advantage. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, I was about to say go back like five words.
Okay. I was just saying, like, everyone, I just encourage everybody to just take just take advantage of what you have and be responsible for your own selves, and not put your health in the responsibility of someone else's hands. Like, I think that's very important for people to be mindful of, because I'm rare. I'm rare. Those who are open in public are rare as well. But like I said, I went to a camp with kids born with it. It's a lot of us out there. And that's just the bracket of people born with it. And then it's a larger family outside of that of people overall living with HIV. Everyone's not going to disclose their stats to you. And outside of HIV, people are living with various other diseases that are communicable. everyone's not going to tell their status. We just was in a pandemic, COVID vaccine, where people are actively, living and breathing with COVID in their bodies at the moment and going to the grocery store. People are not, they're not going to tell what you think they should morally tell you. So I think it's just very important for people to be responsible for their own health.
Absolutely. Come on, Gems. Come on. Come on, motivational. All right. And then before we get into this rap, because you about to spit these bars.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, you ain't skipped that part at all. What do we have to look forward to? Because I know you mentioned the Pretty Positive. I know you mentioned following you on Facebook as well. Is there anything else you want the people to know on what they have to look forward to?
Just health is wealth. And I will say I was a part of a panel earlier this year, the 2022 Perinatal Roundtable, where it was like 200 or probably over 200 physicians on the call, on the conference and everything. And I was one of 4 women who was given, the green light to breastfeed, and we have research outside of the States that supports a positive mom in care, breastfeeding and maintaining a healthy negative child. But we're introducing it to America soon. So for those who are in the healthcare field, those who are physicians or studying doctors, those who have an interest in infectious disease, be on the lookout for that. And yeah.
All right, girl. Well, thank you for being on the show, girl. We got to drop these bars before you go, though.
Okay. You go first, though.
Oh, goodness. All right. Okay, let me go. My speaker thought it wasn't being used.
LaShondra, girl, I love this hair. It's so gorgeous, always.
Girl,
absolutely.
I took it out. The afro was extra afro.
I know that's right.
I had to I would just.
It looks good, honey. I know that's right.
Thank you. All right, let's see. Okay, can you hear it?
Oh, yeah.
Got Alyssa on the show today, talking about the health and the wealth. Got Alyssa on the show today, talking about the health and the wealth. My girl is representing that Pretty Positive. She got the bars and she dropping the mic. She making sure that people know their status, and she making sure they keep it real on the graphics. And we keeping it going and we keeping it flowing. Yeah, that's for the girls who we always ride.
Hey, bro, I don't know if I can compete with that, LaShondra.
But that wasn't even nothing.
I bet. I believe you.
All right.
You came off good and strong. Okay.
All right, what you got?
Okay. Yeah, I'm on LaShondra's show. I'm on LaShondra's show. Hey, talking about healthcare flow. Hey, HIV, AIDS, healthcare flow. Hey. that was it. Mic drop.
Listen, I want to thank you so much again for coming on the show,
Thank you for having me.
Yes, for dropping this knowledge and being so vulnerable. I love what you're doing. I respect what you're doing so much. Keep going. Okay.
Thank you, girl. You do the same, girl. I be seeing you. I'm seeing you, and I'm definitely rooting for you, LaShondra. Keep it going, girl. I'm very proud of you.
Oh, thank you. Look at all this feminine love.
Yes, absolutely. You know what's going on. You know the vibes.
I always have vibes. And
yes, ma'am.
I like to end my show the same way I started. And that is
these bars in the holster, pouring up a drink, put my name on the poster. Women who can rap make you come a little closer. Step out the whip, drop a tip to my chauffeur. New guest on my list, champagne's by my hips. It's time to get lit. Y'all know what it is.
It's time to rap, and mimosas. Thanks for
okay. Good job.